Hello and welcome to All About Community. Again, my name is Robert L. Harris and I am your host. When we went to break a few minutes ago, I indicated that I would have as my guest on this segment Sheryl Grant. Sheryl Grant is an outstanding business person, motivational speaker, you name it, she is it. Sheryl Grant, welcome to All About Community.
Thank you, Mr. Harrison. So excited to be here with you today.
Well, I'm excited to have you here. Let's chat for a moment about your background. Where did you grow up?
I was born in Chico, California.
Oh, well, come on. Nobody's born in Chico, California. I've been there one time in my life and said, no way.
Chico is one of the most beautiful places. It's known as the city of trees. I was born in Enloe
It's
Hospital.
known also as a place where when you're going to college, all you do is partay.
Okay, let's not talk about that part. They stopped those days long time ago. Pioneer Week is what they used to call it. Yes, and it was totally out of control.
Now, Chico, California, on a serious note, not many black folks up in Chico, California.
Well, tell that to my family.
What's the black population in Chico?
You know, I actually don't know the exact population, but it is a very small country community town. And my grandmother lived in Oroville, which is like less than 20 minutes south of that. So my humble beginnings was in a very small town. I don't know, Robert, if you remember the days when they used to leave the back door open.
Oh,
and you could walk in, or even the front door for that matter.
I remember those days, because I grew up in the country.
Yeah, okay, so then you understand.
Absolutely.
I grew up playing in Bidwell Park, which is one of the most gorgeous parks you can ever go to. But that was my life, yes.
Oh,
it was a beautiful
did you go to Chico High School?
No, I didn't go to Chico. I left when I was in the second grade.
Oh, you left early.
Area, so,
oh,
yeah,
you came home.
No, but the Bay Area has truly been my home for most of my adult life in growing up. Yes, it has been.
So you went to school locally here?
Yeah, college or
high school?
High school, Santa Teresa High, which is in South San Jose, closer to Gilroy.
I know Gilroy.
So I went to there, and I've also done my undergraduate work at UOP and my master's.
University of Pacific?
No, actually University of Phoenix.
Okay.
I went to the University of Phoenix and got my undergraduate degree in information systems.
Oh, good.
And then I went on to get my master's from St. Mary's in Moraga. And I got my master's in leadership development. Yes.
Right there out from Walnut Creek.
Yes. So I've pretty much grown up, my entire life has been spent in the Bay Area, San Jose, primarily San Jose, and then I lived in Oakland during my junior high school years, and then I've lived some other places, but predominantly.
Now let's talk about your business background.
Yes.
How did you get involved there?
My business background. So do we want to start in my corporate background?
Yes,
do we want
absolutely.
To so
corporate background.
I really spent the last 30 years plus. I know.
Wait, you couldn't be a day over 30 now? Come on.
I'll take all that. I take all that, and I love that. But no, the truth is, I spent about 30 years in corporate America working for companies like Hewlett-Packard, Dell, Yahoo, EMC. EMC bought out Dell, and Dell bought out EMC. So I spent most of my time in corporate America. And
what were you doing in corporate America?
I was basically sales. That was my career. I was in the top 1% of my corporation in sales in each of those capacities. The stress in the stronghold was very heavy, Robert. It was very heavy. I made a lot of money. I made a lot of good money. Corporate America was good to me from a financial perspective. But when people talk about that glass ceiling, for black women, it's not a glass ceiling. It is a brick ceiling.
It's a brick ceiling.
Yeah, it's a brick ceiling. And so, that's where I spent most of my time until I decided to jump off that bandwagon and enter the world of entrepreneurship.
Now, we'll talk about glass ceilings. Let me just distract you for a moment because of the election that we've just had.
Yes.
And the role of black women's involvement in getting Biden-Harris elected. What do you think ought to be the reward for that?
The reward, I think a lot of things. First of all, congratulations to Vice President-elect Kamala Harris, as well as to President Biden-elect Biden to the office. I think it was just a tremendous feat. And for us Black women, it truly was almost as though a weight has been taken off of our shoulder, because her victory is our victory. When one wins, we all win. I think right now is really a time for us to rethink about how we've been approaching our life in general, business-wise, how we serve our community, how we serve each other. We have primarily lived in this capitalistic realm of thinking, and I think there's a new currency, and that new currency and the power in that currency is called community. Because when we work together, we can do anything, and that was evident by the fact that what got them over that hump was Black women. And I didn't say women of color, I said Black women. And I think it's important to make that distinction.
Well, I agree 100% because Black women have been the most loyal constituency of the Democratic Party, and they ought to be recognized for that, so that when we see appointments being made, Black women ought to be right up front. We're going to have to go to a break. Don't touch that remote. We will be right back. Again, my name is Robert L. Harris, and I am your host.
To better manage traffic on 880, the Metropolitan Transportation Commission has converted the carpool lanes to express lanes between Oakland and Milpitas, giving solo drivers the option to pay a toll to use the lanes and ensuring that all users, including carpoolers and buses, get a reliably faster trip. Learn more about the 880 express lanes at expresslanes.511.org.
Hello and welcome back to All About Community. Again, my name is Robert L. Harris, and when we went to break, I was talking with Sheryl Grant about the recent election of the new president of the United States, Joe Biden, and the new vice president, Kamala Harris. Harris, I wonder if she related to me.
You might need to check that out, especially right now.
I have, and she does refer to me as a cousin, and I have never denied it.
Okay.
But we were talking, and I don't want to keep you on the subject too long, but we were talking about the role of Black women and getting them elected, and what should be the reward. Should Black women be pushed to the front, as they should be, of cabinet appointments and other appointments? That's how you reward people who support you.
I believe that, and I think it's also just in the case of Vice President Kamala Harris. She worked hard, she did the work, she had the skills. There are a lot of Black women out there that are more than qualified to take a lead. I think it's very important for them to take that step up and make it be known to those that are in power that they are ready to take that step. And I do think that they do owe us an obligation. I think this world, this society owes us. The Black woman is the most underrepresented species on this planet, and it's time for us to take our rightful place. And in a humble way. We're a very humble people, and especially Black women. I think we're very powerful, but we use our power to meet in a good way.
You're very powerful, no question about that, and you've demonstrated that power over and over and over again. I'm just not certain that you've been rewarded as much as you should have been rewarded.
Thank you.
Now, you were executive director of the Global Women's Leadership Network. When was that, and what was that all about?
Well, I was brought on board truly to transform the organization, and I did just that. As a matter of fact, because of my efforts, the organization went on to get a $6 million grant from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Basically, I brought more than 22 women from around the country, literally around the globe, Tanzania, Johannesburg, Greece, just literally around the world together to do one thing, Robert, to fulfill a dream. These women were educated women, they were very powerful women in their own rights, and they came across this country to do one thing, to gain as much insight as they could, to go take it back to their country to build their community. It was one of the most rewarding things I've ever done. One of the phrases that I was taught then, and you might be familiar with it, is the word Ubuntu. And Ubuntu, U-B-U-N-T-U, Ubuntu, I am because you are. And they really did cement that in my spirit. And so it was a great reward not only to host them, not only to put the curriculum together, not only to really give them the training and the resources that they came all the way across the country to get. It was very rewarding.
Now, you're the founder and the CEO of SGE.
Yes.
What is that about?
Sheryl Grant Enterprises was really formed out of a journey that I took. And when I said about corporate America, I became depressed, I became sad, I couldn't break that brick ceiling, and I went on this physical journey to transform my body. I then became Miss Olympia as a result of that journey. And this
You
was
became
my
Miss
Olympia.
Oh, okay.
And it was my first time ever competing in my life. And I started in September of 2016. 6 months less or later, March of 2017, I entered my first competition. I became second place, next competition, first place. Then I went on to become Miss Olympia. Through that journey, I came up with this.
No. You've lost me. Miss Olympia. What does that mean?
Miss Olympia. So it's a fitness, it's all about fitness, bodybuilding.
Oh, okay.
And there's different realms of bodybuilding. There's lifters. There's
Okay,
full
I got
figure.
it now.
Yeah, there you go.
I was just sort of lost.
Yes. So I became Miss Olympia. But through that, I really did more than just transform my body. I transformed my mind. And I realized that my only person that was stopping me from greatness was myself. And I came up with this program called FIT. FIT stands for, it's an acronym. It stands for faith, intuition, and tenacity. It's a mental construct because in my learning, I have come to understand that you can do anything when your mind is right. When your mind is right, there's nothing that you cannot do. You are the only person limiting you. So I created my own company. I jumped off corporate ladder and I created Sheryl Grant Enterprises. But better than that, I created a company within that is my technology company called Connect Dots. And it truly is about helping my community.
How many companies do you have?
I have a foundation, I have Sheryl Grant Enterprises, and I have Connect Dots.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
And go ahead. I didn't mean to disrupt
So
you.
a part of that journey in Connect Dots, it's really about building corporate and community and pulling them together. In my corporate background, I have the relationships. My network is very strong. But also as an entrepreneur, I realize the challenges that you face being an entrepreneur. There are over 1,600 businesses that are started a day by women. 1,600, and 89% of them are women of color. But yet 89% are women of color. Yet and still we're not getting the funding. Yet and still we're not getting the mentorship. Yet and still we're not getting the training and resources. Well, that's what my company does. It bridges that gap.
It bridges that gap. I like that. It bridges that gap.
Yes.
We're going to have to go to break, but remember the words, it bridges that gap. And also remember what Sheryl was talking about a minute ago when she was talking about if you believe that you can do it, you can do it. It reminds me of Marcus Garvey. If you have no confidence in self, you're twice defeated in the race of life. Yes. With confidence, you have won even before you started. And I think that was the point you were making. Don't touch that remote. Yes. We will be right back with All About Community and with my guest, Sheryl Grant.
Wireless Plus, your easy access phone provider, wants you to have a free phone, free accessories with free services. How would you like unlimited calls, unlimited texts with free internet? Let us show you how you can get free government-approved programs. Come to our TV at 7801 Edgewater Drive in Oakland, near the Oakland Airport, for your free phone and unlimited services. Call the number on the screen today and let us show you how to gain easy access and communicate for free with Wireless Plus.
Hello and welcome back to All About Community. Again, my name is Robert L. Harris and I am your host. When we went to break, we were talking with Sheryl Grant of SGE. Sheryl, one of the things you have mentioned in your mission is harnessing the power of digital mentorship. What does that mean?
Well, digital mentorship, one of the biggest challenges for most women, and in particularly Black women, is finding a mentor. And typically, if you look at the corporate structure, there's only one or two that are at the top. Can you imagine all the Black women trying to get access to that one woman? Well, I've created a platform. It's Fit Live, but it's a part of the Connect Dots construct. And the goal is to be able to bring these women, videotape them so that this becomes the digital place that you can go to get information that you trust, that you can rely on by people that not only look like you, but that have traveled the journey that you're trying to go on.
Now, does that mean you have a website somewhere that people can get
sure
that
do.
information?
I
Why
sure
don't you
do.
share that information?
It is www.SherylGrant.com. Sheryl is spelled SherylGrant.com. All of my social media, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook is all things Sheryl Grant.
All right. Now, I understand that you are a professional speaker, and I could tell that from just listening to you.
What gave that away?
Let's talk about that for a
Yes.
moment. Okay, what kind of subjects do you speak on?
I really focus on being mentally fit. That is really, to me, when you start there, you can go anywhere. And people really understanding what faith is and intuition is and tenacity is. I just recently did a conference at the We Rock conference in actually Utah just this past September, and primarily talking to VCs about being mentally fit and coming back into our community. I'm looking to bring them on board to work with us in the Oakland African American Chamber of Commerce. So that we can get
that Oakland
So
African American Chamber
Yes.
of Commerce.
Yes.
You know, thinking of the Oakland African American Chamber of Commerce, it just seems to me that you were recently elected to an office. Is that right?
I sure was.
And what is that office?
I'm so excited about this. I can't even begin to tell you. I am the vice chair of the Oakland African American Chamber of Commerce. I've been a part of the chamber now over 5 years, and it was one of the most rewarding organizations that I've ever worked for because we are really tapping in directly to the community, and that's where my heart and passion is.
Well, I can tell you that you have done an outstanding job, and the reason I know is because I serve as general counsel of the chamber and also on the board of directors of the chamber.
You sure
And it's
are.
also so energizing to see people like you working to make the chamber better.
Yes.
And does a person do him or herself a disservice by not being a member of the Oakland African American Chamber of Commerce? And if so, why is that so?
I'm going to say an absolute yes to that because I talked about community. If you're not involved, then how do you know? Especially if you're an entrepreneur. There is no exception to the rule. How do you get access to information? I started off earlier saying there's 3 things that businesses lack: mentorship, access to training and resources, and access to low-risk funding. The Oakland African American Chamber of Commerce just raised or created a resiliency fund in which they raised over $1 million. If you were not a part of that organization, then you didn't get access to that. There's training that we're providing. There's online webinars that we're providing. We're helping to promote your business. You get an opportunity to be advertised. You get an opportunity to communicate and connect with other members. So there is no reason why you should not. The question is, when are you going to sign up?
Yeah, another big question, not only when are you going to sign up, but if you're not signing up, then you are losing business.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Because if you were signed up, you would be getting business.
Exactly. Exactly.
Now, what is the AL Network, and what does it do?
It's Athlete Influence Network, and one of the things that's most powerful about this organization, I was brought in by a good friend. His name is Dan Hughes, whom I've worked with over my corporate career. Long story short, he created this group of high net worth individuals like Antonio Davis is a part of it, Devin George, 3-time NBA player, Warwick Dunn is a player. That's just to name a few. The list is very long. But basically what he's doing is putting these individuals in touch with people of high wealth that are looking to make donations. And I don't know if you've ever heard of a family office, but these family offices are really big and they're looking to do social impact work. And he's bringing on a journey to bridge the gap again between communities so that they can have access and we can have access to a pool of resources that we might not have ever had access to.
And that's important. Social impact is so critical to what we do, and especially how we connect and communicate. Unfortunately, we're going to have to go to break again. I just hate going to break, but we do have to do it. Don't touch that remote. We will be right back with All About Community. Again, my name is Robert L. Harris, and my guest is Sheryl Grant.
Hi, I'm Kathy Adams, president of the Oakland African American Chamber of Commerce. African American-owned businesses in Oakland, California, collectively are an essential pillar of the overall business community, providing jobs and vital resources in a variety of consumer and professional services. OAACC is committed to our members who keep our city going with business tax revenue and household income they provide to families. The impact of COVID-19 health pandemic has created a vulnerable environment that has drastically affected many of our businesses. Therefore, OAACC Foundation created the COVID-19 Resiliency Relief Program to provide grants for our Black-owned businesses that are unable to qualify for federal funds. We are committed to raising $1 million to provide the funding of these grants. Visit OAACC.org. Donate now. Please do not let our Black-owned businesses close. Thank you.
Sinkler Miller Medical Association, founded in 1968 by Dr. William Sinkler and Dr. Rudolph Miller. The organization was formed to improve the health care of African American and other minority people in the Bay Area. Sinkler Miller Medical Association offers annual scholarships to high school, nursing, and medical students who are African American. Presently, Sinkler Miller Medical Association has over 160 members. Sinkler Miller maintains its commitment towards the betterment of the field of health, education, and welfare. For more information about Sinkler Miller and scholarships, contact Sinkler Miller today at 510-863-4560 or visit our website at www.sinklermiller.org.
Hello and welcome back to All About Community. Again, my name is Robert L. Harris and I am your host. When we went to break, I was talking with Sheryl Grant. Sheryl Grant, outstanding young lady who was just elected the vice chair of the Oakland African American Chamber of Commerce. And if you don't know what the vice chair is, that means it's the number 2 position in the chamber. So, Sheryl, we were talking while we were on break about community engagement and its importance. Let me hear a little bit more about that.
Well, I think right now we have a unique opportunity with everything that has happened in 2020. I know that there are a lot of people looking at 2020 saying, I wish it was over. It has been such a horrible year. I'd like to ask you to just pause that and have a different perspective. I think it's one of the greatest gifts that it could have ever been given to us. While we still need to maintain and practice safety and health, yes, but I think it broke down a lot of things that never served us. We were living in a construct that didn't serve the African American community. We have a chance to rebuild that, but it requires that every individual take part. This is not the time or era for us to sit back and wait for anything. It's time for us to step up and be engaged in our community. Join the Oakland African American Chamber of Commerce. Go back to school and get that education you need. Start that business you've always dreamed of. This is not a time to not think about what you can't do. It's to think about what can you do. Make sure that you're supporting our local elected officials. Make sure you're holding them accountable. Yes, your vote counts, but it also your action. What do? Do you call your city councilman when things aren't working out? Do you write the letters, or do you sit back and just complain? That's
Usually
what I
we
need to
sit
stop.
back and complain
we have
and
to
then
stop
do
that.
nothing.
That we have to stop
So
that.
what
That's
would
an
you
old
recommend
mentality.
we do?
I say, number one, get with like minds and like groups. And if you don't know one, start one. And there's a lot of them already out there, but we have to get active and we have to get in action. Action is the key word. We cannot sit on our laurels and expect for this world to change. God has given us a gift. What are we going to do with it? That's my question.
Well, that's a good question, because change does not happen automatically.
Yes.
Change happens because people make
Yes.
changes.
Yes.
Yeah. Anything else you'd like to
Say,
tell us about?
I just like to say, I know you've heard it before, so I'm preaching to the choir, but sometimes we need to be reminded. They say that the definition of insanity is to continue to do the same thing and expect different results. It's time for us as a society, as a people, to realize that our greatest power is our community, because together we can do anything. There's an old African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, you go together. It's time for us to come together and get in action.
And we must go together to make a big difference. With that, we're going to have to bring to close this fantastic interview with Sheryl Grant.
Thank you.
Sheryl, I tell you, I'm just so impressed, and I just
you.
can't wait for you to get in your new position starting January 1 of 2021.
I'm really
As the
excited.
Vice Chair of the Oakland African American Chamber. We're just delighted to have you. And I want to personally thank you for being my guest. My name is Robert L. Harris. This is all about community. But remember this, no matter what you do, when you do it, or how you do it, in the final analysis, it is still going to be all about community. Thank you for joining us.